Okay, wow. So the necks of giraffes evolved just by natural selection. That's pretty cool. But can also very complex structures, for example, our eyes, been evolved by natural selection?
Um, well, yeah, I mean, you always have to realize that selection is always on small steps that all have their own advantage. I mean, you can maybe well imagine a worm or so that has nothing like an eye. It just has photoreceptors. Well, that worm at least knows whether it's dark or light, so it can crawl, for example, until it's dark. Then it's probably under a stone or so, well protected. That's at least better than having no photoreceptors at all. And in the next stage, maybe the photoreceptors can be in a cup. Then if the light comes from a certain direction, the worm will know that and can crawl towards the dark. That's even an improvement, and so on and so on. So by all the time selecting things that have a little advantage, yes, very complex things can evolve.
Okay, but are we as humans then still evolving? Because I do not have the feeling I'm still in a struggle for life or something.
Well, actually, you can find it out yourself. You know the three conditions that are necessary and sufficient for natural selection to occur.
Well, okay. Shall we do eyesight?
Yeah.
Well, is there variation? Well, yes, because I have glasses and you do not. Is it heritable? I think it is because my father also had glasses when he was my age. But does it lead to more or less offspring? I do not know.
I actually also don't know. I mean, you would have to study this to find it. But what do you think?
Well, okay. Well, maybe in societies that really rely on hunting, for example, that they are better off with better eyes. But we, in our modern Western society, well, maybe in traffic or something, but no, I do not think actually that people with glasses have more or less children than people with good
Yeah,
eyes.
I don't know. I mean, I can well imagine that you're right. And yes, in that case, we would have abolished natural selection.
Well, is that a bad thing?
Mm, this is nearly a philosophical question, actually. No, I mean, natural selection is just a natural law. It's just there, like gravity or so. I mean, if somebody builds a rocket and goes against the gravity, nobody will be upset. I think we should have the same with natural selection. But by the way, I actually think in a lot of cases we did not abolish natural selection at all. I mean, and we can still be in a struggle for life. Think about diseases like malaria, for instance. That's really a big killer in Africa. But also in Europe or the US, have been big flu epidemics like in 1918 with millions of deaths.
Oh, and AIDS.
AIDS, a good example.
Yeah, because tell me if I'm right, but a woman that is pregnant also transmits their HIV virus to their offspring. So that offspring is also less likely to become to become as old enough to get
Yeah.
children themselves. So they are less reproductive successful.
Yeah.
But there are still people with HIV. Is there some kind of natural resistance in these people?
There are some people that are resistant to AIDS, yeah, but this is a mutation that occurs mostly in Northern Europe.
Northern Europe, but AIDS is way more common in Africa.
That's true. But it's true. But you have to realize that AIDS is a very recent disease. I mean, HIV made the transition from apes to humans around 80 years ago. So that's maybe 3, 4 human generations. So natural selection did also not have much time to kick in, right? But yeah, indeed, you're right. If such a mutation would arrive in Africa, evolutionary modeling would predict that within 25 generations or so, the whole African population would have that mutation.
But 25 generations, that's more than 600 years.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. I mean, human evolution is very slow because of our generation time.
Okay, so we are evolving looking to diseases, but how about other traits? For example, body heights. That's evolving pretty quick because only 1,000 years ago we were way shorter than we are nowadays. How is that possible?
Well, what? Just check the things.
Okay. Is there variation? Yeah, it is very variable. And is it heritable? Well, yes, I think, because taller people tend to have taller offspring as well. But do get taller people more offspring than shorter people? I do not know that either.
No, I also don't know. But look at this graph from a paper from Pavlovsky in Nature from 2000. They showed indeed that on average, taller men have more children than shorter men.
Okay, so that means taller men are more reproductive successful. But how is that possible? Oh, it might be that women like taller men. And therefore, men or taller people in general are more reproductive successful. But is that a natural selection as well?
Well, yes, it's actually a special form of natural selection. It's called sexual selection. But we will talk about this in the next video lecture.
Okay.